It's good to see all of you, and it's exciting time for us. I know as a football program and as a athletics department, here we are doing something that we didn't probably see ourselves doing here just a month and a half ago, and talking game week here on October 19th, and our guys have been doing an awesome job. We've had practices the last 3 weeks, and we've had 5 helmets, and I think we're at nine shoulder pad practices, and we'll be really at 5 or less full padded practices when it's all said and done leading up to week 1. But I think it's been done in the best interest of keeping our guys healthy, and get along the way trying to make sure we're football ready to get on the football field Saturday and have a great performance. The guys' mindset right now is that this game's a big one. When you look at what Hawaii did last year, being 10-5, and the West Division representative in the conference championship, and us doing it the previous 2 years, the representative from the West Division, we know that there's a lot of stake right off the bat with week 1, and a lot of uncertainty. I know from our side and their side, just very little scrimmage time and things like that. But we do have a lot of maturity, I think, and a lot of growth within the program, a lot of experience returning at many different positions, and we're certainly counting on those guys and their leadership. From a Hawaii standpoint, I know that from a Hawaii standpoint, we're just at this moment getting their official kind of too deep going into the game. So everything I tell you is kind of the prep we've had, not getting any information from them. And we've, of course, done quite a bit of that. We've had 3 practices schematically getting ready for what we may see, through our research and everything that we can kind of assume they might be doing. But as we are, they're a new staff, and we got to be ready for anything and everything. And one of the words of the year has been adapt. We've word adapt, the word adjust, and there's no question that on Saturday we'll have to be ready to adapt once again. A lot of the adapting has been to things off the field and the COVID virus. But when it comes to the game of football, on Saturday, we got to be ready to adapt. And, attention to details all week long is going to be critical, because we know that as we go through the week, we want to have great preparation, championship preparation, attention to details, and being Bulldog tough are the 3 things that we're focused on going into Saturday. But the attention to details, not just what we're doing, but how, and most importantly, why, because that will help us with those adjustments when it comes to Saturday afternoon. So that's a little information from our end. Certainly open to questions, and would love to be here for you and help you out, give you the information that you want to hear.
All right, we're going to get started with Paul Leffler. So, Paul, if you want to get us started, the first question, and then we'll get to the chat box.
Paul?
Hold on.
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
All right. Hey, Paul.
Sorry about that. This is a new thing, Coach, the Zoom news conference. We're trying to figure out how to have it. You guys are all on live, by the way, on 940, just so you know. So ask your questions well. And so, Coach, I know you just talked about the depth chart, and you're waiting to get the answers from Hawaii and know what you're up against, and you will have to adapt. They're going to have to do the same thing, and they're waiting to know, like everyone else is, take that first snap on Saturday afternoon. Is there anything you can tell us about the quarterback position and how that's going to shake out?
Yeah. Our starting quarterback on Saturday is going to be Jake Hayner, and he's been taking the reps the last 3 days in practice, and I've talked to each one of them, Jake Hayner and Ben Woolridge individually, middle to end of last week. And, we were in good hands either way. And for each of them individually, it was a camp where they went above and beyond, and their preparation leading into camp was amazing because it showed. And the success we've had with both of them, I guess you don't say under center anymore because they're not necessarily there in shotgun, but under center, taking the snaps and the execution they've had has been amazing. But yeah, you got to decide on one. And right now we feel like Jake gives us the best chance for us to reach our full potential as a football team, as an offense. And, that's a hard deal because a guy like Woolridge has put a lot into this program and will continue to do so, and has carried himself in a very first-class way. And I know he's going to be there to support Jake. And, we've had 3 good practices in preparation, and Jake's been taking all of those snaps. I think the one thing from, our standpoint is our offense in particular, because they're around those guys so much, they feel comfortable with either one. And we really haven't made it a big deal within our team. I think there's confidence, and, I think it's probably more so for the outside, people outside the program, that certainly make a big story of it. And I get it. It's our quarterback position. It's the one position everyone wants to know. And it's certainly an important piece to our success. I think our offense is always going to be quarterback driven. The schemes will always be based on, the talent around them, the skill that is around them. The schemes will always kind of be played up, whether we're in a heavy receiver, person, as far as our receiving personnel being great, or our tight end personnel being great, our running back personnel being great. But in the end, it's quarterback driven. So it is important as we go forward to know, the direction we're going. I don't think the schemes and the play calling change that much based on whoever the quarterback is. And so everything that we've done in preparation through the first 3 weeks, I think we just continue on in that direction. And it's just that Jake takes all the reps of the ones.
Andrew?
Coach, just following up on that, you mentioned that Haener has taken the snaps with the ones for the last couple of days. Can you pinpoint the moment when you knew that he was going to beat out Ben? Because for weeks you've been saying how close the competition is. What is it about Jake that pushes him over the top?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a moment. I mean, I can tell you the day before I even, and Coach Grubb did the same thing the day before I even officially, talked to them about the decision. I went through every practice and just, kind of maybe felt like the direction I was going in, was going to be Jake, maybe the last day or so. But I just wanted to make sure that, we were just doing my due diligence and watched every throw, everything you can find on film, the demeanor of a guy, the body language, the communication that happens on the field, the big throws, all those things that you have to have in place with your starting quarterback. And I think the hard part of it is when we talk about the things that we saw in Jake, it naturally makes it naturally comes across like the other quarterback, in this case, Ben, doesn't do those things. And that's not the case at all. We got 2 great choices at quarterback, 2 great guys that are exceptional young men that are ready for this opportunity. And, I think Jake just, is the guy right now that makes us what we want to be at a very high level. And we're expecting big things from him coming right out of the chute. In our offense, the quarterback is not just a game manager; he's a playmaker.
Stephen?
Coach, under normal circumstances, I'm sure you would have had an elaborate plan for maybe some game day traditions that you'd like to implement. But and correct me if I'm wrong, if this is the furthest thing from your mind, just go ahead and say it. But are there any game day traditions you'd like to implement this Saturday, or are you going to try and continue some of the ones that have been there in years past?
Yeah, I think, we want to build on the things that have been done and keep the traditions, whether it's our March to Victory, which I know is a big thing. It's just that, our March to Victory usually goes through the crowd and the fans and the tailgating, and, none of that exists. So our March to Victory will take a different route, things like that. Even how we enter the field, I would love to incorporate the fans and have some type of walk before we get onto the field, and, have some excitement leading up to the game to where, fans feel like they need to be in their seats when the game starts, or they're going to be missing something. And, afterwards, our embracing of the fans and different departments around our program, there's those type of things that I want to incorporate I will say, some of those things we'll try to continue to try to embrace even this year, but some of those may just be put on hold for a year, just because we don't have the fans. We don't have those certain areas of our university that are at the games to be able to embrace. And so, we'll continue to build on that. Right now, our focus has been on how we're going to win a football game. Even the things that, you do as a football program to make you whole. I've tried to keep some of the tangents out of it as we talk to our team and just focus on the core things. What's our motto? Being 1-0. What are we focused on? We're focused on finishing, things like that, and not trying to get too crazy and too cute, and really focusing on the priorities and what it's going to take to do things in a first-class way, win football games, make the Valley, make our university proud.
Julia?
Hey, Coach. You said that Jordan Mims was close to being 100%. Just wondering if we're going to see him take the field week 1.
Yeah, he'll be suiting up and ready to go. We've worked through the process. I think very slow with him, just making sure that he's comfortable and confident, and he's getting there every single day. I think you have improvement. I think a lot of it's confidence as much as anything on his end. With how he's come back from last year. Yep, he'll be ready to go.
CG?
Hey, Coach, good to see you. When Paul and I jumped on 940 this morning, one of the things that we were talking about was the crowd and how the lack of crowd at some of the stadiums around the country has played a big effect. LSU losing at home, Iowa State losing at home. As you break in a new starter, albeit a little bit of experience in Jake Haener, what concerns, if any, do you have that there won't be 40,000, 35,000, any fans in Bulldog Stadium Saturday?
Right. No, that's huge advantage for us when it's rocking. That's for sure. And we don't have that. And we've been talking about bringing your own juice. You got to make the plays, and we got to celebrate as a team together. Have that energy. Even this week. There will be some piped in crowd noise at a certain level, a certain decibel, that the university and I think the Mountain West are also kind of all working together on. And we will practice Tuesday for sure, and we'll see how that goes. Wednesday and Thursday are also days where we can continue to pipe in that noise. And so we're used to that surrounding, we're used to that environment. Normally we'd be on our practice fields Tuesday and Wednesday, but we are going to be in the game in the stadium, just trying to get ourselves accustomed to those things that are different, as you said, different than what we're normally used to.
Jackson, go ahead.
Coach, just noticed on the roster at least, Deontay Perry listed at 335. Can you share what kind of shape he's in? Is he your starting left tackle? And what does that mean as far as breaking in a new quarterback for how important that position is?
Yep, absolutely. Deontay Perry will be our left tackle, our starting left tackle. And, Deontay, I feel like he's taken that next step and is healthier. There's no doubt about it. He's healthier than he was. And he is 335 would be the highest he'll play at. But he's been as low as the low 320s over the course of the summer. It's certainly been a focus on his to be in shape. And, obviously the weight is a part of that. And he's focused on being the best he can be. And I'm excited to see him step on the football field healthy and ready to go. So, the part that is still up in the air, is the banging of a season, the pounding that a game has on a body, is still some of those things for a lot of guys that is up in the air from those injuries from last year. Dante being one of those in particular that's coming back and ready to go. But he's at a great camp, and we're excited to have him taking the spot at left tackle for us.
Andrew?
Coach, you mentioned that you're still waiting on Hawaii to give you the two deep and have all the information on their starters. They have a new coaching staff, but Todd Graham is a guy who's been around college football for a long time. What does a Todd Graham coach team look like? What do you think you can expect from what you've seen from him? He's, I think, twice a college football coach of the year in a conference.
Yeah, there's no doubt a guy that's got that much experience. They're going to be ready, and he's done it at multiple programs, and so this is not something new to him. I think he's his style, especially with what he's a defensive guy, defensive coordinator, but you see how he's adapted to the different places he's been with the style of offense. He's also incorporated, through probably the decision of who he has as his offensive coordinator. And so I think that based on the research I've had, that the offensive side of things will match what Hawaii probably is good at in the first place and what they've done in the past. And, his mindset being a defensive guy, bringing a hard-nosed style to Hawaii's program. We're expecting a football team that's coming in here confident, physical, ready to go, and especially on the heels of a conference championship run last year. We know that we're going to be in for a fight this Saturday.
Hey, Coach, what kind of brand of football should Bulldog fans expect on Saturday?
Yeah, I think number one, we're going to play hard. We're going to play hard, and I can tell you that confidently because I've seen in practice us play extremely hard. When I watch a film of a whole practice, and it's the third day in a row, and there's the conditioning. I'm thinking about practices 7, 8, 9. And then maybe like 14, 15, 16 that we've had where they're back-to-back days. And, the conditioning maybe wasn't the same throughout the course of summer as we normally have had. But these guys were fighting. And, we talk about kicking, scratching, clawing, you doing whatever it takes to put forth great effort and get the job done. That's what these guys are about right now. Are we a perfect group right now? We're not perfect, but, that's what our goal is to be perfect. But I think what you'll see a group of guys that are going to fight and play tough. And we had a lot of guest speakers come in over the year, or not over the year, over the summer, probably more so. Guys like Pat Hill, Derek Carr, all those guys that when you think about Bulldog football were great representatives of the program. And over and over and over, they talked about being Bulldog tough, the toughness and grit that it takes to be a Bulldog. And, if that's been one of the things, there have probably been 2 or 3 things we've consistently talked about these last 3 weeks, and it's about being Bulldog tough and the mindset, that it takes to win football games in Bulldog Stadium, and how it's been done over many years. And that's the word that continues to come out in everyone that comes that I come in contact with as we talk to alumni and proud fans, the Red Wave, you name it.
Andrew?
Am I next?
Please.
I'm just throwing questions in there, Coach, and seeing what sticks. Jalen Cropper was utilized in a number of different ways last season as a true freshman. How has he evolved, and how do you plan to utilize him both with his hands and his feet this season?
He really has evolved. He's putting in a lot of time. You could tell this summer himself, just developing his route running. When I watched last year, and a lot of it is he was learning the offense, and now he knows the offense. He's confident being in the offense, and we can put him in different spots very easily, and he's comfortable being inside in the slot. We see the fly sweeps he ran last year and how explosive he was that way. But I think now is what you're seeing him, feel comfortable catching the ball. It can be a simple hitch, but it's, a lot of things where he's on the run is really what you're trying to do. Crossing routes, deep balls, down the field, posts, things where he can continue to utilize his speed. And once he's by you, there's no way you're catching him. And I just think his development as a skill and the skill he's developed as a receiver is something that's different from last year for sure. His confidence certainly shows that.
Okay, we're going to have Ferd ask the next question.
Hey, Coach. I wonder if you could tell me, with no fans in the stadium, when you pull up to the stadium in your bus or walk or however you get there, and you look out and you see no tailgating, no fans, what are you going to do for energy, and how do you think this is going to affect the visiting team?
Yeah, I think from our standpoint, it's we got to do it on our own. We got to. And that doesn't just happen where you flip a switch on Saturday. To me, is what it takes great preparation. And so all week long, we need to have the great preparation. because when you put a lot into it, it means that much more when it comes to Saturday. And, you know, we've been even doing that through camp, putting a lot into it to where when we step on the football field, it means that much more. You know, a team that just comes in, and my belief is a team that just comes in and tries to rah-rah all of a sudden on Saturday, you know, after about 4 snaps, that dies out. But the stuff that's deep, the enthusiasm, the energy, the desire, the passion that's deep, because you know you've put a lot into it, it's a lot harder to surrender, and it's a lot more enjoyable when you have that success. And so to me, it's about focusing all week long on great preparation, and that great preparation leading to confidence, and confidence leading to success and excitement, you know. And as a team, we need to celebrate our success as a whole. It can't just be the offensive guys excited for offense, defensive guys excited for defense, special teams, so forth. It needs to be everyone excited. We all got to get to our sidelines, get our adjustments, communicate, and then get back on the field and there to support the rest of the team as they go through their drive, because there is no one else. As far as, like you said, for the opponents, yeah, there's not the distraction. There's not the you know, the energy that we can create that makes them feel a little tentative when things aren't going well. And so, you know, I just don't think you're always going to get the fight for 4 quarters, even if many people think that the game might be out of reach, you know, just because that will and desire isn't going to be threatened as much when there's no crowd in the stands or no fans in the stands.
Thank you.
Mark?
Coach, it's week 1 and it's game week. I want to know, what is that energy like in the locker room?
Well, that's an interesting question, because as we have our setup, we really aren't in the locker room at all. And that's just one of the unique things. You know, it's so different right now. Anyone who's played sports and football in particular would not recognize what we are going through on a daily basis. You know, our guys, the showers have never been turned on in our locker room. And you talk about those things, but it's stuff like that. We are dispersed amongst multiple 4 locker room areas in our building. And the most guys that we ever have coming into the locker room at one time is 12 guys. And so when you talk about the locker room and the camaraderie and all those things, it's so different than anything I've ever been part of when it comes to athletics. You know, I've talked to the team, even away from the facility, away from practices. What would you like the guys to do? You'd love them to have a barbecue, to get together, you know, 10, 15, 20 guys here, you know, getting together at someone's house and just hanging out. We're telling guys not to do that, you know. So the chemistry piece is going to be something that's ever evolving, and we're trying to take every moment to develop that trust and that belief in each other, you know, that relationship part. You know, we tried to groom it through Zoom calls all spring, summer, going into the fall, and now, you know, trying to show the little wins here and there on how we're coming together when we're on the practice field, and really only the practice field, maybe a little bit when we're working out, lifting and things like that. But it's a different, when you talk about locker room, it's a different deal. And so, yeah, it's probably for many, it's a surprise to hear some of those things, but in the world we're living in right now, those are the ways we have to adapt.
Jackson?
Coach, Hawaii obviously threw the ball a lot last year, and they seem to have all the weapons to do it again if they choose to this season. Can you describe what your confidence level is with the defensive scheme installation, and if you could share what your secondary might look like beyond Evan Williams?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I think we're really coming along. I think it's the one area where we've really progressed as camp's gone along is with our secondary, just pass defense in general. Knowing full well that that's what we got to be ready for this weekend, because they have some productive guys returning. Jared Smart, just looking at last year's production, good speed, you know, extremely productive player. Then along with what appears to be a good group of transfers coming in to the program, and a running back, you know, that returns in Miles Reed. based on what we've seen in the past. A guy that is a huge threat and can make plays. And so just in the past game and related to our defensive backfield, you're going to have Evan, and then you're going to also have, Waylon Free. And we'll work Waylon at corner this year. We moved him from safety back to corner, which is where he was at a few years ago. Just think he feels more comfortable there. A guy that's a classman that's really done a nice job and been so consistent is Deontay Perry. Deontay Perry is going to be, a safety for us. And, I had a lot of familiarity with Deontay because he was an offensive player at one point in our program, and went to the defensive side of the ball. And just seeing how consistent he is and the toughness that he is continuing to build mentally and then physically as well. It's been really cool. That's to me what being a coach is all about. And we got a great one with our defensive staff, and in particular the safeties coach there with Chuck Morrell. And then our other corner that we will start on Saturday is Braylon Lux, a redshirt freshman. And I'm excited to see him get out there, and he's been super consistent all fall camp as well. So at the secondary, those are the guys that we will be starting on Saturday.
Stephen Sy.
Hi, Coach. Todd Graham has sort of had a reputation in his past of having up-tempo offenses. With your limited practices, how have you been able to prepare for the fast-paced offense that you'd probably be facing?
Yeah, you're very true. And we fully expect that from them, just because that's been something that they're accustomed to, even with the previous staff and things that Todd Graham's offenses have had in the past. So with our offense in particular, we do have the ability, and you have to work at it a lot. We do have the ability to go fast. And so there have been times in practice where I think our defense has got a good look of us playing with tempo. Now, overall, in the scheme of what we do offensively, we can certainly milk the clock and, do a lot of different things that way to not put our defense in a tough spot where, we're 3 and out and burn 12 seconds off the clock, But I think they've seen a lot of that from our offense. And then certainly as you get into specifically Hawaii prep, there are things you do, just getting lined up. And you may not even full play, just getting lined up, getting the signal in, getting the call, having a system in place, which we do in our defensive structure. Just our system has the ability to make quick calls that are sometimes base calls, sometimes are a little bit more intricate, when the tempo is on by the offense, and you need to mix it up. I think Coach Inge and his system is flexible enough to where we have that ability, and we've been practicing that, not just even in the last 3 days, but the practices before that as well.
Andrew?
Coach, when Jeff Tedford came back in 2017 to his alma mater, we made a big deal of the fact that he was walking down the ramp for the first time as head coach. You've been Fresno State's head coach now since December, but Saturday will be your first game day experience as the head coach. Have you given some time to reflect on that? And what do you think it's going to be like for you on game day?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. I'll be honest with you. September 5th, I was in the car with my daughter, and that was supposed to be our original first game. And, I was thinking through what we would be doing at this time. And later in the day, I was thinking through what we'd be doing, and I was assuming it would be a night game. But thinking about what those feelings would be. And, we Googled, just pulled up every intro that we could find from Fresno State football. And I actually got emotional just thinking about that. And at that time, we didn't think there would be a fall. And probably is what I get emotional about is thinking about what the guys were missing at that point, because this is their time. How many games have I coached, and in my window for coaching is going to continue on, hopefully, right? Beyond these next 3 to 4 years. But these guys get this small window to play Bulldog football. And at that time, I was just like, man, these guys aren't getting to experience, what it's like to come down that ramp. And so I think everything we do, I know as coaches in this program, it's about giving these guys the best experience or one of the best experiences of their life. And that's what I'll be thinking about when I go down the ramp is, man, we're doing this. And, you know, we're getting this opportunity for these guys. And it's not maybe as quite as much fun as it would have been if there was, you know, 40,000 coming down the ramp screaming and hollering. But these guys love the game of football, and they're going to get a chance to play it. And we're going to get the chance to compete and be the best we can be on Saturday late afternoon. And personally, just, you know, coming down that ramp, you know, having done it, not necessarily with the team because I've been in the press box, but knowing what that feels like, it's special. And doing it for the first time here, it's special as well. There's been some amazing coaches that I'm following in their shoes, and amazing teams that have put some special memories in Bulldog Stadium, and I get to add to that.
All right, last question from CG.
So Andrew asked almost word for word what I was going to ask. So let me come at this from a little bit of a different angle. Your career is a bit of a bookend. You started and had prolific success at Sioux Falls, 67-3, multiple national championships, a very successful coordinator at Eastern Michigan, here at Fresno State under Tedford, and certainly at Indiana. So going back to when you were at Sioux Falls as a coach, how have you changed? How has your journey changed from when you were there to where you're at right now?
Man, I don't know how much it really has changed because my beliefs are still the same. Whatever you do, you know, you stay the course, you keep the faith, you believe in what you do. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to it. When it comes down to it, and you know, you just need to be so convicted in who you are as a person. And be that person to your team, be consistent. And, you know, that's what I was back then. And, you know, that's what I hope to be and continue to be here this year and in the years to come. And, you know, your team needs to know that what they're getting right now is what they're going to get in those tense moments, in those pressure times. And, you know, there's you know, I think so many people look at, and I get said to me all the time, you know, there's a lot of blowouts and things like that. And, you know, they assume that, but there's a lot of really close wins that happened through all those years. And I think just being ready and having thought through, you know, those moments and prepped yourself as a coach, and then getting your team to have that mental imagery of what's going to happen. I can't say a lot's changed. I mean, the schemes have changed a little bit, you know. You have more experiences to draw on that you've been through, whether it's leading the team or, you know, situational stuff that happens in all three phases of the game. I think you look to those things, but in the end, it's about you know, how tough your team is and your response to adversity, and how well you continue to just keep the pedal down and keep going, even when things are really good. Because human nature is to let up, and those same convictions that I had then are the same convictions I have now.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. That's our week one press
Thanks,
conference.
Savannah.
You
Thanks,
bet.
Coach.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Yeah. Have a great week.
You too.